The asteroid that slammed into the Moon 3.8 billion years ago, creating the Imbrium Basin, may have had a diameter of at least 150 miles, according to a new estimate. The work helps explain puzzling geological features on the Moon's near side, and has implications for understanding the evolution of the early solar system. Food is one of the most important things you'll ever buy. And yet most people never bother to think about their food and where it comes from. People spend a lot more time worrying about what kind of blue jeans to wear, what kind of video games to play, what kind of computers to buy. How quickly this occurs depends on the dynamics of fertility, mortality and overseas migration. While a moderate pace of demographic change allows for gradual adjustment of the economy and policies to the changing population demographics, rapid changes are more difficult to manage. As a result, governments and society as a whole may need to take actions to address these issues. History is selective. What history books tell us about the past is not everything that happened, but what historians have selected. They cannot put in everything. Choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be formally taught to the next generation in the shape of school history lessons. Tissues are grouped together in the body to form organs. These include the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. Each body organ has a specific shape and is made up of different types of tissue that work together. For example, the heart consists mainly of a specialized type of muscle tissue, which contracts rhythmically to provide the heart's pumping action. Women and girls with autism spectrum disorder often don't display the behaviors people typically associate with neurodivergence, greatly impacting when, how and if they are diagnosed. Autism acceptance advocate 𝗧𝗏𝗂𝗏 makes the case for more research into this gender discrepancy. Schools host parent-teacher conferences 4 times a year, and it is important for families to attend. This is your chance to meet with teachers and ask questions about your child's progress. It can be helpful to write down questions ahead of time. Advancements in technology have revolutionized the way people live and work. The rise of digital tools and platforms has made communication easier, increased access to information, and created new opportunities for innovation. However, these changes also raise questions about privacy and security. Lincoln's apparently radical change of mind about his war power to emancipate slaves was caused by the escalating scope of war, which convinced him that any measure to weaken the Confederacy and strengthen the Union war effort was justifiable as a military necessity. As the Delta variant of coronavirus sweeps the U.S., businesses, universities and cities such as New York and San Francisco have introduced vaccine mandates to boost uptake of jabs, but vaccine hesitancy remains high and a cottage industry for bogus inoculation cards has emerged to help people get around the rules. Tesla actually worked for Edison early in his career. Edison offered to pay him the modern equivalent of $1 million to fix the problems he was having with his DC generators and motors. Tesla fixed Edison's machines, and when he asked for the money he was promised, Edison laughed him off and had this to say, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." An athlete is preparing for a game. They've put on their gear and done their warm-up, and now it's time for one more routine stretching. Typically, athletes stretch before physical activity to avoid injuries like strains and tears. But does stretching actually prevent these issues? Modern buildings have to achieve certain performance requirements, at least to satisfy those of building codes, to provide a safe, healthy, and comfortable environment. However, these conditioned environments demand resources in energy and materials, which are both limited in supply, to build and operate. Rates of depression have been a growing concern in recent years, particularly among adolescents and adults. In the United States, it is estimated that 4.1 million adolescents aged 12 to 17 have experienced at least one major depressive episode. This indicates a rising trend in depression rates among adolescents. Don't miss the very beginning of a lecture, since that is often the most valuable part. For instance, because it reviews previous lectures or outlines objectives and lecture structure. If you easily get distracted by other students, sit near the front. The natural world is full of intricate ecosystems, where plants, animals, and microorganisms interact in complex ways. Each species plays a role in maintaining the balance of its environment, and the loss of one species can have a ripple effect on the entire ecosystem. Nutrition plays a vital role in overall health and well-being. A balanced diet provides the body with the essential nutrients it needs to function properly. Poor nutrition can lead to a range of health problems, including obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Ever wished you could stop procrastinating and just be as efficient as a machine? Since you're a human, that's not going to happen, but that's okay, says entrepreneur 𝗧𝗶𝗽𝗀. Here's how you can use awareness, observation and experimentation to clear your own way to getting more done. There are alien minds among us. Not the little green men of science fiction, but the alien minds that power the facial recognition in your smartphone, determine your creditworthiness and write poetry and computer code. These alien minds are artificial intelligence systems, the ghost in the machine that you encounter daily. In a genuine republic, the will of the government is dependent on the will of the society, and the will of the society is dependent on the reason of the society. In Federalist 51, for example, James Madison claimed that the extent and the structure of the government of the United States make it dependent on the will of the society.
Audio Jungle.